Alright, so this is my Spellbook. I have Timaeus Dark Magician deck. We said we'd do a deck profile on this a while ago. It's still a little bit of a work in progress, but for the most part, this is how I'm going to run it. And it's working really, really well. To start off, 3 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, the blue boy. Just a searcher. Because a lot of what you do in this deck is first thing you do is set up. And then you go off. Because, you know, like most Spellbook decks. So he just helps that consistency with getting your towers and fates and stuff. Next thing you want is 3 Temperance. Actually kind of debating on cutting it to 2. But right now 3 is good because it gives you your access to your Dark Magicians and your Dark Magician girls. So the sooner you get them, the sooner you can use Eye of Timaeus and go for the badass fusions. Next card is 2 Skilled Dark Magician. Awesome because when you have that card, Dark Magician is not as much of a dead draw because he pulls Dark Magician from a hand, deck, or graveyard, I believe. And he's really good. You just gotta get 3 counters on him so if you have him in a Secrets, you're gonna get 3 counters on him that turn and pull out your Dark Magician. Next card is, right now I'm only running 1 Dark Magician girl. I was running 2, but I switched 1 out for a 2nd Dark Magician. Because if I don't pull off the Eye of Timaeus plays, it's better to have Dark Magician than Dark Magician Girl. So the next card is 2 Dark Magicians. You know, self-explanatory there. Normal monster. Some Yu-Gi-Oh! Nostalgia is one thing I like about this deck. And then 1 Magician of Faith. You'll see why I'm running the Magician of Faith. Sometimes I mill off my Eye of Timaeus and then she just gets it back. And, you know, or like get your Fate back. You use Fate a lot. Alright, so on to the spells. 3 Spellbook of Secrets. It's your searcher. Main card really speeds up the deck. 2 Masters. Again, just another card to run through. Adds consistency. Being that this isn't a main Spellbook deck, I'm only running 2 Crescents. Just because I wanted to run other things over the Crescent. It just adds for a little more consistency. And sometimes, like, if you go Blue Boy first turn and you already have a Secrets, I'll go for the Crescent first. And then I'll just try to get something off of that. That way I get more cards in grave. Get more pluses. Then you go 2 Tower. Get a +1 every turn. And this deck is awesome. Particularly because once you do get the Dragon Knight out, you get 2 cards in your hand. You can just sit on this card and just pop every turn. Next card is your Spellbook of Wisdom. Just like your Lance. No explanation needed there. 1 Power. 1 Star Hall. Star Hall, when it starts building counters, it's a real pain in the ass for people, and they don't want to pop it because it'll give you a search for a spell.
Nothing like a 2800 Dark Magician beat stick.
Oh, you get that thing way up over that.
Well, I was saying Dark Magician Girl.
Like, when you power while you have this card stacked up, you'll have, like, usually a monster with over 4,000 attack that you can wisdom and stuff. And being that Dragon Rulers are starting to be heavy again in this format, Dark Paladin is absolutely amazing. It is freaking ridiculous against Mythic Rulers. Anyways, Spoke of Fate. No explanation needed. Life, it's like your monster reborn.
And wait, with a lot of these, can't you get life back to reuse it again, if I correct?
Yeah, pretty much every spellbook you can cycle back. Right now I'm only running 1 Eternity. Thinking about upping it to 2 again. Just because it does help you recycle your cards when you banish them with Fate and then you add them back with Eternity. But right now I don't seem to have a problem because you can just recycle the Eternities just as well. I'm going to get to those last, I think. Then I just have 2 MST.
Some popping back row?
Yeah, popping back row. People are playing decent amount of back row this format. And then to speed up the deck, I run 2 Reasonings. That's why I run the Magician of Faith. It helps you get to your Eyes of Timaeus, which are my next 3 cards. But yeah, Reasoning is just helps this deck a lot. Also helps you get to your monsters, get cards in grave. You don't want to go Reasoning before you have Fate, because if you mill off your Fate, it kind of sucks. And the reason Reasoning is good is because it gives you a lot of fodder for Fate, and then you just keep cycling the Fates and keep banishing your opponent's monsters, and it just, yeah, it screws people up. Anyways, last spells are 3 Eye of Timaeus. You have your Magicians on the field with that, and you get a free fusion monster out of your extra deck. And I only run 5 traps, and it's kind of a weird lineup of traps. Just 1 Mirror Force, kind of good against OTKs, but, you know, people can pop it. But that's also why I run a Threatening Roar. It's chainable, and it will stun my opponent's OTKs, because, like I said, this deck is really relying on setup, and so sometimes I need an extra turn. Then I have Torrential. Again, kind of slows down your opponent, because most of my first turns I'm just setting up, so I don't mind torrentialing my opponent and losing like a blue boy or whatever. Then Bottomless. Bottomless is just a good card, especially with Soul Charge being a thing. You can Bottomless or Soul Charge, and really probably going to cost them the game. And then my own personal tech that's working out really well is Magician's Circle. The reason for this card is it searches out your Temperances, it'll search out your Skilled Dark Magicians, and it'll even search out your Dark Magician girls. In case you don't know what this does, when a spellcaster type you control, or a spellcaster type monster in general, declares an attack, each player special summons 1 spellcaster type with 2,000 or less attack from their deck in face-up attack position. And the other thing, I didn't realize this at first, but somebody pointed out to me, was what's really good about this card is a lot of people who are main deck Effect Veilers will have to put an Effect Veiler in face-up attack position, and then you can just run over it.
Boom.
So that's pretty cool. On to the extra deck. There's not much extra deck to this, so this will go quick. I'm running 2 Dark Magician's Girl, the Dragon Knight. I am running 2, even though I'm only running 1 Dark Magician Girl at the moment, because you can life her back, which is what I'll do a lot of the times, is I'll go Dark Magician, I have Timaeus, and then I'll just life the card back again, and then I'll have this and something else. This is really good because it's a once per turn you discard and pop during either player's turn. So it just, you play strategically, and you can just wreck your opponent's plays. Next card is one of the other new fusions. It's Amulet Dragon. Really awesome late game, because it banishes, you can banish any number of spell cards in either player's graveyard to have this card gain 100 attack. So if I'm playing against Spellbooks, this card's going to be super amped up, and I can like banish only as many that is necessary from my own graveyard, and I can banish all of my opponent's cards in their graveyard, or all of their spell cards. And so this guy will get stacked up, and then you'll screw up their future plays. So anything spell heavy, this is really good against. Last fusion, one of my favorites right now, is the old classic Dark Paladin. Against Mythic Rulers, this guy just ends the game, because he'll easily get over 6,000 attack.
Let's just see.
And then you can power him, you can wisdom him, and
boom.
Because Mythic Rulers don't run a whole lot of back row, you get him on the field, and like it's probably going to be game over. Because unless they can deal with him, like pull a Draco Sack and pop him, but usually he's so powerful, they're just not going to be able to do anything about him.
And that feeling of saying, I have a Dark Paladin on the field.
Yeah,
like,
because
nobody gets that on the card on the field like ever until this became a thing.
Yeah, so it's just really nice to have him, just because it's such Yu-Gi-Oh nostalgia. I love my old Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Anyways, moving on. My level 7s, I'm only running a Big Eye and a Hierophant of Prophecy. I almost never go into them. Like, this is just like that thing, if like I'm in a tight spot, and I can go into it, I'll do it. I might sometimes go into this if I'm just like looking at heavy back row, and I've got access to 2 Dark Magicians. I'll go into that and just like pop my opponent's back row. That way they just go minus really hard. And besides that, the only other real extra deck cards I go into are my level 2s, which is Gachi, Daigusto Phoenix, and Shining Elf. The reason you do go into these sometimes is because when you do get 2 blue boys on the field, you don't want to just sit on them. And sometimes you'll go blue boy and you're reasoning into another one, and you just overlay them. But lets you attack twice, just stall card, lets you have time to set up, and just kind of can mess with your opponent. Anyways, that's pretty much the deck.
Alright, thanks Luke.
Yeah, go ahead, give it a try.
Yeah, guys, check out the deck, try it out on Dev Pro if you can, if you don't have the deck, but, you know, whatever. Hey, if you like this video, thumbs it up, share it, all that. I'll see you later. Peace!